Alright, this is going to be a demonstration for how to import and use different brushes on the Adobe Photoshop. So you're going to go on to Google Classroom, and I'm going to give you guys a preset brush to download and use. So you'll go on to Classroom. It's going to be under your materials. I actually want to move the materials on the bottom here. So this will be on the very, very bottom of the classwork in Classroom. Just because there's gonna be very few materials I'm going to upload on here, but you're gonna click on Adobe brushes, you're gonna click on these brushes here, and it's gonna show a new preview, but you're just gonna click on download to download a file. So it's a very unique file. This is only for the Adobe Photoshop. So don't worry about being a virus or anything. This is safe. So you're gonna have this brush, Photoshop Adobe brush. It's gonna be an ABR file. You're gonna double click on it to upload your brushes onto Photoshop. So now moving on to Photoshop, you're gonna have a different set of brushes to use. So you click up here, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and all your brushes are actually labeled in these folders here. So you have, whoops, your general brushes, dry brushes, and wet media. And then there's also some brushes. There's some I uploaded before, but it's the ones that should say Photoshop brushes. Okay, so these are actually like unique brushes that were made using the brush tool in Photoshop. I don't really want to go super in depth with how to create brushes yet, but we're gonna just use this to create your art paper today. So we're going to do File, New, and I'm going to create a new file. So we're going to, let me see. So I'm actually going to give you like very specific dimensions to use, but you can click on Photo, you can do Landscape. It's going to give you 8 by 10, but we're actually going to change this to 19 by 13. Okay, the reason why we're changing the dimensions to this though is because if I want to do like a large print, this is gonna be like the largest print I'm gonna be able to do on my inkjet printer. So I'm gonna click create, and now we have like the space that we're gonna work with. All right, so and I might actually stretch this out a little bit, so it's okay if it's a little bit longer. We can always resize and modify. I usually always like things a little bit wider than normal. All right, so we have our white space to work with, and what we should have talked about in the warm up today is being able to create paper or a backdrop for or art paper or backdrop for your art journal entries. That's actually a very nice way to kind of like fill up this white space in the in your art entry, and also it's gonna get like most of like it's gonna be like a nice backdrop to start off with for your drawings. The nice thing about Photoshop is we can always add drawings, colors on top of it. It's gonna be really easy to layer things in Photoshop as opposed to traditional media. Okay, so where you're gonna find your brushes. Obviously, you're gonna click on the brush tool here, and hotkey for brushes, the B key. Two ways you can locate your brushes. You can click on this tab here. This one will pull all the brushes. They're all organized in the folders. So you want to click on the very bottom, which is Photoshop brushes. The other one you can do too is you go Windows, brushes. It's up here too. Actually, I like this brush setting tool better though. So we're going to Windows and brush setting. So this is going to actually give you a little bit more control on the brushes. But you have to kind of like flip between like these two though. So I'm actually going to flip between the brush and the brush settings together. All right, so yeah, what we're going to do is we're just going to work on a backdrop. I want you to actually keep your backdrop colors in black and white. And there's a reason why I'm going to have you guys do it in black and white. We're going to use a gradient tool filter to create the colors for your backdrop. This is so we don't go like too crazy with the colors. Because it's really easy to go like crazy rainbow colors, and some of you guys didn't feel like it was unified or there wasn't any structure to it. So we're just gonna keep things black and white. So I want you guys to go to Windows swatches. If this isn't checked off, you want to make sure it's checked off. But we're just gonna stick with these you know, these gray tones or gray values. You can use these up here too. I think these are the last colors I used. Okay, so you know what you could do is you know, we're just gonna lay out some colors. Let me see. So I'm just gonna grab some of these brushes here. So I think this one's pretty interesting. So you know, again, the brush tools. I'm gonna give you hotkeys for this. I'm gonna make a new layer for this. So you can actually keep your colors on the background layer, but I'm actually gonna just show you guys some hotkeys. Let me use a regular brush first. Okay, so these two keys here on your keyboard, this one here, and this key here. That's kind of funny the way I drew these. But this is gonna control the size of your brush. This key is gonna make your brush bigger. This one's gonna make it smaller. So you know, that's kind of like all you really need to know with the brush tool. And you know, I'm just gonna use these brushes here because you know, I feel like these brushes are real interesting to use. I'm gonna go back to my background layer, and I'm gonna do some you know, big shapes here. So I'm just clicking, moving things around, just adding some shapes here. And one thing you can do too is you can change the opacity too. So I'm actually gonna change it to 50. You know, kind of play around with like you know, the different values. You can also just change up the colors. You know, do different things. You can resize the brush. So one thing that's interesting about this one is you know, if you click and drag, it's going to you know, just like do different types of shapes with it. So you know, just kind of like play around with it. You know, today's gonna be kind of like one of those. You know, you're just experimenting with the brushes. You're seeing what they're doing. But you know, we're just basically creating some art paper here, though. So we'll try this chalk one here. So I'm really like attracted to these ones with like a lot of texture to them. You know, especially if you make it real big, you can get some really interesting shapes with it. Might be a little too big. And another thing too is you can you know, if you go to the brush tool here, you can rotate the brushes as well. So, you know, just kind of play around with it, you know, just like add colors, shapes, you know, see how things look. So, not particular with this one here. So let me just try this here one. And then the one thing about these brushes though, they kind of like act like stamps. So you kind of just like stamp to, you know, add these colors, create them. And then also, if you wanted to, you can hold the if you hold the Shift key and you drag it, you can make you know, straight lines too. This is like a weird thing though. If you hold Shift again, you know, like this. So I just do Command Z to undo it. And I'm just gonna make another straight line here. Wow, this is being really slow on my computer. All right, so might have to make the sides a little bit smaller. So I'm probably gonna mention this in the beginning of class, though, but we gotta make the smaller this. It's just too big, so we'll do 10 by 6 though. It's okay though if it's a smaller size because it is a high res image that we're using, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Let me see. So you know, I just want you guys to experiment today though with the brushes. You know, see what things do. That's actually a real interesting shape you have here. And even you know, I'm getting some really nice abstract shapes here. You know, it's gonna be a nice backdrop for my my journal entry. And even like these other ones, you know, the ones that are like the Adobe Photoshop ones, you know, you get some really nice brushes with these too. I really like blowing them up because it's like, you know, you can really see like what they are, what they do. So, you know, today I want you guys to like, you know, just make like 3 pages. Oh, that's not part of Adobe. You know, see what you can do, you can create. So I'm actually gonna make it a little bit whiter over here. Oh, this one's actually doing like some weird things here. Okay, so yeah, after you kind of like, you know, lay it out like some colors, textures. So the nice thing about this is creating like textures and patterns, you know, as you're working. So you know, after you kind of like laid out some colors, you can go to Windows, Adjustments. So Windows adjustments, and we're going to use the gradient tool for this one. So you're going to click on gradient tool. Now I made everything white in the picture, but it's okay. We're going to change the colors. So if you click on this down tab here, this is going to give you some default colors to work with. So if you look at it though, these are some default gradients that you can use. I usually like using this as like a start off point because you have like your blues, which is your darks, reds is the midtones, and then yellow is yellow. If you wanted to, you can keep it black and white, but I'm gonna use this one here. I'm gonna click on this one here, and then whoops, yeah, double click here, and this is where you can control the gradient. So this is actually your darkest values. This is your grays. This is your yellow. So if we were to change it black and white, this is like how it would look. But with color though, we can kind of like control what those things are. So if you wanted to change this into like purple instead, you can change that purple or even like a green. Actually like the blue here, so I'll make that a little bit darker. It's orange, a little too strong. It's your pure red. You can really change these colors though. Make it your own. Oops. So I'm just double clicking on it to change the colors. And if you wanted to, you can actually add more colors in between. So you can add like a green too. Maybe like a light green. You can drag these around. But I wouldn't go too crazy with this though. I actually don't like the green. I would just stick with like 3 colors. You can kind of play around with that. So this is like a nice backdrop to start off with in your artwork. Now I'm actually going to create some more lighter tones. So just remember though, like this is the layer for your, it's like a filter we're putting on top of your picture. But here I'm going to actually add a little bit more white areas. So I'm going to actually go back to these brushes down here. Let me try this plastic wrap one. So I'm just going to add some more. Whoa. I was using the blur tool. Oops. So just remember, you can go to Windows History, undo your mistakes. Close that. So just make sure to click on the background layer. And I'll just add some more white over here. The reason why I want to add some more white though is I want to actually show you guys, what you can do with like your drawings later. So now I add a little bit more white. I'm actually gonna put a drawing over there. I'm gonna go to my folder. Alright, so I'm looking for my folder with all my work. Let me see. I think I put it. It's teaching portfolio. I'm just gonna find like a drawing that I've done before. So this stick figure drawing. Let me not do figure drawing. Personal work. Alright, we can just use this one here. So I'm just actually going to click and drag this onto Photoshop. And then, the nice thing about this though is, the filter is going to, create that value for you. I'm going to resize this, so Command T as in 0. So this is kind of like, what you did before with your pictures. And then I'm going to do the multiply. So then that becomes like a part of that picture. So you need to adjust the values a little bit more. So let me hide all this stuff. So kind of like what we did before, your adjustments, levels. We have to blend the picture together and get rid of the white space here. Yeah, that's how you incorporate like drawings in your work. Might need to erase the background a little. There's just too many values in it. So I'm gonna ask to rasterize. Alright, but I just worry about the paper now though. Don't worry about the actual drawings yet. I'm just showing you, like what you could do though, like after you used art paper though.